Hello and welcome back to the Lore Raider. This is the third part of my three-part return to YouTube iPhone recording trilogy. And firstly, can we just talk about these views? This is bar none, far and away, the fastest I've ever gotten views on my videos ever. So thank you all, everyone who watches, likes, subscribes, and comments on these videos. Again, thank you. I appreciate everything you've done for me. Because without you, well, I'd be nothing. Now, I've done a video about something related to the lore of Metroid, and I've also done a video power scaling a character from the series. So why not wrap this trilogy by talking about a really important question to the series? What exactly is canon in Metroid? Why do I ask this? Because I get too many smooth-brained mouth breathers who comment on my videos and say, "The Prime series is not canon," or "The manga isn't canon," which is dumb. And I'm going to show you just how flimsy these arguments are when you get down to the bottom of things. So strap in, dear viewer. This is going to be a fun one. The first thing we need to answer is this. What is the definition of canon? Well, canon in the context of fiction is any work, be it game, film, or book, that is considered to have inarguable existence within the fictional universe, is almost always created by the owner of said fictional universe, and considered by them to be canon. For example, the Nintendo remake of Metroid 2 Samus Returns is canon, whilst the fan-made remake, AM2R, is non-canon. With this framework in mind, let's discuss the position of what I like to call the 2D Purists. When asked what do they consider canon, they will generally say, quote, "The numbered games are canon." Those being Metroid 1 and its remakes, Metroid 2 and its remakes, Super Metroid, Metroid Fusion, and now, of course, Metroid Dread. This seems pretty simple, right? However, will we find a chink in this argument's armor? Oh wait, the character of Adam Malkovich. A purist might try to say only the Fusion and Dread versions are canon. But wait, the official in-game art gallery clearly shows other M reward options, and that uses other M costume in the art. Uh-oh, by pointing this out, the statement, "only numbered games are canon," is suddenly shot to pieces. Not to mention, Fusion and other M are linked at the hip, as both games have Nightmare, Clone Ridley becoming Neo Ridley, etc., etc. Okay, so now the purist has to concede and say, okay, the numbered games and other M are canon. To which I say, on what basis is other M unique? When they obviously can't come up with a good reason why one so-called spin-off game is canon and the others aren't canon, it's time to poke more holes in their dumb argument. For example, why does Proteus Ridley exist? And I've heard people try to waffle and say, oh, it's just a reference, it means nothing. At that point, tell them to shut up and then answer the question for real. Why does he exist? You see, the plot line for mechanized Ridley existing doesn't come from the numbered games. It comes from the Prime trilogy. Namely, in Prime 1 we see Meta Ridley, and then Prime 3 we get Omega Ridley. And Proteus Ridley is meant to serve as a bridge between those Ridleys and Super Metroid Ridley. But wait, if the Prime games aren't canon, then why is Ridley mechanized? In fact, why is Proteus Ridley in the game at all? When they fail to give you a good answer because they aren't Nintendo employees and have no power to determine what is quote-unquote a reference and what's actual canon, let the panic sink into their very souls as you poke in yet another argument. Whoa, 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 did you see that? Was that Old Bird? A canon character introduced in the manga? Oh, oh, oh! Did the mainline games confirm the story of the manga? You know, the one that Samus was raised by the Chozo? Now, at this point, you won't be just attacking the Prime deniers, you're attacking the manga deniers as well. And they might try to say, it's just one little detail, so the hell what? At that point, you should say, oh really, so, why did Metroid Dread, only the most recent game in the franchise, confirm the manga canon again by referencing the fact that the Chozo gave their DNA to her, and they even show the pod where she got the DNA transfer? At that point, they'll start blubbering about, something, but keep up the attack and say, wait. Didn't Metroid 2 Remake also refer to the Chozo created the Metroids? A plot point that was invented in, where was it? Yes, the manga. Gee whiz, it sure seems like these only canon games want to press the fact that the prequel manga is also canon. Very strange. At this point, the original argument is destroyed. It's impossible to argue that only the mainline games are canon at this stage. Still, because it's the internet and no one likes to lose, they might try to move the goalposts and say, fine, we can see Other M and the prequel manga are canon, but you still can't prove the Prime games or Samson Joy are canon. Besides the fact that they are of course wrong and have no official Nintendo sources to back them up, to prove the Prime games are canon, besides the evidence we already listed, why not point out that Metroid Dread's Omega Canon is an item invented in Prime Hunters? Also, why not ask them how the Space Pirates went from having an entire army in Zero Mission, with military class ships, that was a frigate that he had, to in Super Metroid having only one planet and basically no members? Is it because a certain Dark Huntress got them all killed, fighting for her in a war against the Federation? Maybe. And finally, if the Prime series is purely non-canon, why would Nintendo release Metroid Prime Federation Force for the series' anniversary birthday? Now, I'm going to ask again. Why would, according to them, would they release a non-canon Metroid game for Metroid's birthday anniversary? Oh, and, Proteus Ridley. Yeah. Finally, there was but the humble Samus and Joey manga. However, will we prove that a manga that was commissioned to the same company who wrote the prequel manga is canon? However, will I defend a manga the literal creator of the manga had negotiations with the head of Metroid with? How will I manage to add a manga that when asked if the manga was canon and had a place in the timeline, was literally given a place in the timeline? Now, I've heard people say, but he didn't say yes to the first question, so it's very... No. Alright, because the manga that got even Sakamoto, the guy who controls Metroid, himself at the negotiating table, and was given a slot in the canon timeline, is also somehow not in the timeline. Sure, obviously the mangaka expected more than 5 brain cells out of the reader base. Oh, and as for tie-ins from this manga, how about the fact that it invented the famous thumbs down that Samus does in Other M? How about that? Or how about the fact that the name of the craftsman species, which are shown in this manga, was actually name-dropped in the prequel manga? We already discussed how the prequel manga is tied in everywhere to other games. Or how about the fact that Nintendo is the same company who blasted AM2R and Pokemon Uranium out of existence for using their IP, and you somehow think this same company would negotiate with a project they would then just consider non-canon? How thick-headed do you have to be? How dumb does Nintendo have to be in your mind for this all to work out for you? I'm just saying. Now, folks, I know this is a very passive-aggressive video, but I'm very done with all these people coming to my channel thinking they're the shit and spouting arguments that fall apart in minutes. And you're going to see many of these people probably watch this video and somehow try to duct tape their shattered argument back together. Takeaway from this video is that when Nintendo doesn't consider something canon, they let the whole damn world know. Period. End of story. That's all the time I have today. Please share this video around whenever you see people arguing this nonsense. Until then, take care, be safe, be wise, and please pray for a true peace in space.